Chapter, McFarlin.
Wow.
I would also like to acknowledge the fact that he is 14 years old, and at 14, I would have not had the courage to get up there and do it either.
Confused about the world we live in? Is it possible that blacks have set up an abnormal tradition to accept second-class citizenship as a way of life? Is it a way of life for blacks to accept and assist in their own oppression? It is for sure that many black people in America are ignorant. Yes, they are ignorant because they have not challenged themselves or a system that uses black people to assist in their own oppression. What happened to black pride? There was a time when black people didn't settle for failures. They expected more from blacks who were blessed to get the opportunity of greatness. Whether it was sports, entertainment, politics, blacks who were set up for something transcendental carried the expectation of the entire black race on their shoulders. Much was riding on his or her success, regardless of the role. Each time the baton was passed, the next black understood the obligation to represent, to show the world that the black man had a contribution to make, and we would not squander it. Every time there was a black success, black people would say, "There's another example that you can't keep a black man down." How powerful is it to know that you can overcome anything? This is why black unemployment during the 50s was practically unheard of. Black people were the best employees, the most diligent, innovative, and inventive of that time. This was apparent in the struggle to revive a city named Tulsa. It's an American city otherwise known as the Black Wall Street. Up until June 1st, 1921, Tulsa was a well-evolved industrial and peaceful area. Crime rates were low, industries were prospering, and individuals were making the most out of whatever money they had. This city was so established and independent that it was growing on itself. This means that the city's size, production rate, and population were bettering no matter the condition of the rest of the economy. This separate society just may have been idolized by the daily American aside from a few things. Tulsa's existence occurred before and during the Civil Rights Movement, and because Tulsa's population was nearly 100% African American, it was despised and looked upon jealously. On June 1st, 1921, numerous jealous non-military white men with access to planes, bombs, and guns began a 12-hour raid and massacre on Tulsa, burning many buildings and homes, slaughtering many civilians, and bombing many areas of high population. To this day, there are still records of witness reports of National Guards being present in the terrorist attack against Tulsa. Instead of addressing the issue, Americans decided to disregard the event and continue their normal American lives, knowing that the destruction of a prosperous city has left many dead, many more injured, and much more to bury the dead and tend to the wounded. Even today, this catastrophe is excluded from textbooks and classrooms, causing many to be completely unaware that such a city existed in this country. Most of those who are aware of Tulsa's existence fight daily battles to revive such a peaceful development. We've done it before, and we can do it again, this time with military defense. The path to revival should be obvious by now, but where did it go wrong? We did more for ourselves under segregation than we've done under so-called freedom. The concept that was so prevalent in the 50s and 60s, self-determination producing leaders, has diminished. Black culture has been saturated with false information and fake egotistical leaders and parents who pretend to have interest for people but only have interest for themselves. Which leaves us for the need of a concept, Re-Africanization. It's the only alternative left to save our community. Too much talk about getting money and not producing it. We have become the cash cow for corporate companies. Thus, we have nothing to show for it. The task of parenting us to be self-determined, prideful business leaders rests on your shoulders. We need to shift our child's mindsets from getting a good education to get a good job to producing one.
Yes, that's right.
Everyone dreams of their kid becoming the great leaders of the future, whether that is President of the United States or CEO of a corporation. Seeing your child grow up to become someone important and successful in their career is something every parent wants. Parents tend to underestimate the influence that they have on us becoming great business leaders. Raising tomorrow's self-determined leaders to produce means instilling certain skills, pride, and examples in your children. You may be a good parent at heart, but if you carry out bad parenting examples, you are failing your kids and worse.
That's right.
You are setting them up for a lifetime of failure.
Yes.
So much of our future happiness and success depends on how well you raise us today. Parents, we are watching and mimicking your actions. Remember this next time you think it's cool to act ignorant or believe acting intelligent is wrong. Or bragging about how many times you've been to prison or how many baby mamas you had. Parents, this cycle of ignorance needs to stop. Because we are watching.
Wow.
There was a time when blacks, just like Japanese and Chinese, would groom their child's talents, characteristics, and determination to near perfection. Now the self-idolization and craving for social acceptance has blinded many of us from the God-given power we have. The purpose of this speech is not to criticize or justify anything or anyone. Things are lost between generations when they're not taught. It's time black people concede to a higher calling, transcend race, and find the pride in having been a significant part in the building of the greatest country the world has ever known. The reason I stand before you today is to acknowledge the power you have and to ask you to teach us how to be a leader so we can revitalize the next Black Wall Streets. Teaching your child to be a leader at a young age will provide them with the skills and confidence to go wherever he or she would like later in life. Teach us how to be good leaders that's able to make good decisions. Teach us so that we are able to manage money on a personal level as well as on the business level. Change is the production of action, will, and time. History is written by the victors. Teach us how to be the next great leader of America. Though a proud young black man, I put no race above another. I want to be victorious. If you don't recall anything from this message, I want you to recall one word, just one: Re-Africanization.
Parents for your participation here, helping the children or the young adults with your leadership is why they're going to become great leaders. Especially Q, he has given us some history today.
Yes.
And we thank him for that. And it tears you up to know that this is a young man that is so resourceful. So he should have touched all of us in here today. And we are truly grateful for that.
I shared with QDale, as I mentioned, and at least I was going to have that down as part of the introduction, but I was told that it had already been emailed. Thank the Lord for technology, because I had handwritten some stuff. But I was very impressed with him back in January when he spoke at St. James Baptist Church for the NAACP's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Birthday celebration. And I said to myself then, yes, I know that he is young, but he's an old soul.
Yes,
and I had to explain that to say that, yes, chronologically speaking, 2000 was the year of his birth, and he would probably say that was a great year. But certainly, in listening to him and seeing his demeanor, I want to tell his mother, Miss Naomi, I'm adopting him for today. But certainly you ought to be proud of him, and we certainly encourage him along the way, and we pray that God's blessings will be with him, not only during his time in middle school and the classes he takes, high school, but that the Lord will be with him throughout his career.
Amen.
I think that if he is obedient to the Lord, I think that the Lord has greater things in store for him. So we do want to encourage him, and Udell, a very unique name.
We would say as we make this presentation to you, we certainly want to thank you. We want to encourage you. You are a blessing to us, and you continue to be